Hi, and thanks for joining me. It's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and today we're going to make a fall card. I love the fall. I love fall colors. I mean, these colors on this paper are just gorgeous. And this pumpkin was embossed with gold embossing powder. I love this stamp. This whole set, Pretty Pumpkins, is really nice, but I love this, the fact that you can stamp it. On the inside, I stamped it with just ink. But out here, I stamped it on pale papaya cardstock and embossed it. And I have the little greenery. And then there are coordinating dies. So you can stamp the pumpkin and then cut it out. This is a great pumpkin. You just stamp it on pumpkin pie cardstock and you have a cute little pumpkin. And then you can cut these out. And this is gorgeous. I think I made a card a while back using it. It just gives you a nice, just very delicate, pretty pumpkin. So let's get started. Oh, and I just wanted to mention, so I used this stamp set on my card from yesterday's blog post. If you didn't catch it, so if you didn't get the dies, you could just use the stamps. So I stamped it, and I actually stamped it in pumpkin pie ink, and then I colored it with Stampin' Blends. I've got some Merry Merlot, and then I did this flicking to get some little splatter around it. And I should show you how to do that because I didn't know at first. Let me just take a second and show you that. So a lot of you probably know how to do this, but I didn't know. So I always love to learn something new. So if you just take your Stampin' Right marker, not your blends, your Stampin' Right marker, and you want to use the thicker end, it's got the thicker line here. So it's kind of like, I call it the flare end. And you just take your top and you just flick. And you'll see just a light splatter, I hope you can see that, of ink. So you can use any color, and I just thought it was pretty cool. My friend Sandra Hernandez uses it all the time, and I love it, and I finally watched her do it and learned how to do it. So I love that we can learn from each other. So anyway, let's get started making the card. I have all my pieces cut like I usually do. So I have early espresso, and then this is the Beauty of the Earth Designer Series paper. And it really is beautiful. Beauty of the Earth, yep. So it's got, you know, fall colors. It has some trees and just some, you know, wood grain. And then there's, I think this I'm going to use for Christmas. I love that. So there's some just really pretty patterns here for the fall. And so I use that, and that's the first thing we'll do is we'll take our ribbon. This is the first time I use this ribbon as well, and this is Early Espresso, and it's a faux suede. It's really nice. So let's put that just around this layer, and this way we can get it out of the way, because sometimes I forget to do that, and then I put the layer down, and I'm kind of stuck. You could always peel it up, but it just makes it more difficult. So I'm just going to wrap it around. And isn't that gorgeous? I love that. I was thinking it would be good to die cut some leaves or something, or trees. I'll have to try that. I think that would be really pretty. And then just put this down. I love to die cut designer series paper with intricate dies. I think it really comes out nice. So let's put this down. And I'll just use my Stampin' Seal. And we'll just put this down. Oop. Am I done? No, not yet. Okay. So we'll put this down. And just get it nice and centered. And then we can get this out of the way. So I also have a piece of vellum. And I wanted to just have something to offset the pumpkin, but I didn't want to lose this pretty paper. So I like to use vellum with that. And I cut the vellum with the Scalloped Contour Dies. I use these all the time, so it's this one. I started with this one, but I thought it was a little too small for what I wanted to put there. So I have my pale papaya, and I cut it, I don't know, 3 by 3. I kind of measure the pumpkin sometimes and see how big it is. And then I want to stamp this with Versamark ink. And we are going to do some heat embossing. So I finally learned how to get rid of the sound so you won't have to hear it. And we'll just put this down. and I will use my gold embossing powder. Let me just get a scrap. And then I'm going to also do the embossing on the greenery. And I did that on Old Olive. So you can see it. Again, I told you last time, I think you get like a watermark look on it. So let's put this over here. And just add some more. Make sure it's all nice and covered. Then you do your other flicking. Lots of flicking here. Okay, and I'm going to put that aside because I want to do this greenery. Now there's different size greenery pieces, these leaves. I chose this one because it kind of, I wanted to sit it on this side of the pumpkin. It kind of comes away from it versus this bigger one. That would, I don't know, I think it needs to go near the pumpkin. So you could do it the other way if you'd like. Let's get rid of the scissors. So we're just going to ink this up, stamp it down, and then let's put the cover on this, and we can put some gold embossing powder on this one as well. And then we'll heat them up at the same time. And you could do this on white. You don't have to do it on a colored cardstock. But I wanted the green. You could do it in white and then color it with a marker. Lots of options. And let's put the top on this. And I'm going to pull in my heat gun. So, or heat tool, I should call it. So just put these down here. I'll heat it up for a second and then I'll emboss it. And you just want to kind of hold it in the sun and make sure it's all shiny. That means the embossing is complete. All of the powder is melted in. I see a little spot there. Okay, so that's all done. Now we can cut them out. We'll get rid of this. This always has a little bit on it, so I'll probably throw that out, just so I don't get stuff on my workspace and then I end up with having little crumbs and stuff. So let's do our cutting. So I have my base plate, my number 2. I have my cutting plate, and let's get the dies out. That would be helpful. So we'll do the pumpkin die, and then we will do this small green one. So let's just, we'll run them through together. And I started using this Post-it tape, which I find to be really good. So it just holds everything in place, especially if you're doing a couple of pieces together. Trying to see the edge. And these dies, I'll tell you, they go right up to the edge of whatever you're cutting. So they really, they changed it. Stampin' Up! Had changed the company that they used, and they really, I love how close they get. They make it just a little bit easier. This looks like it's off a little, to get it in the right place. Okay, let's hope this works. And we'll just run it through. Okay, so we have our pumpkin, and we'll just put that aside, and our little green piece. Okay, so let's put this away, and then we can build our card. Now, you know, with vellum, you have to be careful of where you're putting your adhesive. So what I did was I put my pumpkin and my greenery on the vellum, and then I attached the vellum to my piece over there. So we're going to kind of build a card. Let's get this done as well. So I'm using Early Espresso ink, And I used a stamp, Hey Friend. You could use a happy birthday, a hello. I used Hey Friend from In Symmetry. I just wanted some like little flag kind of stamp jetting out. So we'll do this. This is a piece of a 1/2 inch scrap. When I cut my inside layer, I always have a 1/2 inch left over. So I save them, and then they work perfectly with these kinds of small sentiments. So Hey Friend, early espresso. You could also heat emboss that if you wanted. And then I want to just punch it. This is the banners punch. And there's the, I use this all the time. There's the flag and then the point. So we'll put this in here and just kind of flag it. You can do it by hand if you want. I just have this and I find it to be very easy. And then you want to cut it, but you want to leave kind of a good amount of tail there so that you can hook it onto your pumpkin. So what I did was I glued this onto my pumpkin where I thought I wanted it, and just put a little bit of glue here, and then we'll glue the whole thing down together. So we want it kind of coming up and out, kind of see where it goes. You don't want it too far up. So that looks good, I think. And yeah, so I like to kind of play around with where I want to put things. So then I'll put some glue on here. You can pop this up if you want, but I wanted it right on the vellum. And actually, let me pull it down here so I'm not going up against the ribbon there. And then we can put a little bit of glue on here. And we're just kind of building a little scene. I just want to make sure it sticks good to the vellum. The vellum's a little shiny. You could use whatever adhesive you want. And then we want to put glue right behind the parts that we glued down, so you're kind of hiding that adhesive. Again, when you're using vellum, you don't want the glue to show through, so you have to be strategic with where you put it. And let me just get it. I have a big block and just put that down there while we work, just to hold it down and make sure nothing curves up. So now we can do the inside layer. I was thinking about using some of this designer series paper for the inside layer, but I didn't like the way it laid, and I'll just show you. So I had a piece of scrap, but there's too much white and I didn't really want to cut it up too much. This is really pretty, but I didn't think it really went. So, but you can always use designer series paper if you wanted. But I'm going to do the pumpkin again because I think it's such a pretty one. You can do one of the other pumpkins, or like on this card, I just stamped the green across the bottom, which I thought was pretty. This is Granny Apple Green. So, you know, whatever you like. So let's get this, and I'm going to use pumpkin pie ink. I hardly ever use pumpkin pie ink outside of the fall. It's very pretty. I just don't think about it. I don't know why. So we'll just go right down here. And there we go. So our card is pretty much done. We'll just put some glue on this, or actually I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal. I just put this on the inside and we're done. Oh, we have to tie a bow. Let's do that and then we're done. You can put some gems on here. I would say if you wanted to put some like the gilded gems or something like that to pull out the gold, that would be nice. So let's get our ribbon again. So we'll just take a piece, and I always do it right on the spool. This is very easy to tie. It really it's not flimsy at all, so it just makes it very easy. So we'll just tie a bow, make it pretty, and then we can cut some ends and adjust as needed. Might be too big. It's a little bit long. Let me do it this way, actually. So this is a good card for a guy, I think. You know, it's hard to get guy cards, and a guy in the fall with these fall colors, you can make it a birthday card, or just you know, thinking about you, thought I'd reach out to you and send you a card. I know ladies probably like it more than men, but I think it's okay. So these are the cards, and then this is the one from yesterday. If you want to get the information on this, you can look at my blog, pspapercrafts.com. I'll have all the instructions, measurements, all of that. All right, thanks so much for joining me. You have a good day. Bye.